to Johanna Elisa podcast. I am Johanna, and this is my introductory podcast. It's been on my heart for a while to do a podcast. My main method of getting this information out to you about weight loss and nutrition and fitness and all that good stuff is through ebooks. So you can check out my ebooks at payhip.com/Johanna Elisa. But anyways, let's get into the introductory podcast. I want to explain a little bit about who I am, what this podcast is going to be about, and why you should join in, especially if you're trying to lose weight. So again, my name's Johanna. Back in high school, which was many moons ago, I struggled with not just my weight. I was just trying to get through school. I had some home problems that I was trying to deal with. So my focus wasn't really on trying to look super great. Like, it wasn't the top of my mind. So losing weight was not the goal for me to fit into jeans better or to look more like a model or something. That was not on the top of my mind. I felt horrible in my body because of my eating habits. And that is what was top of mind to me concerning my health, because I could feel it every day. I could feel just the disgustingness of feeling bloated and feeling lazy and just eating. And it was so crazy. I would not pack a lunch and I would skip breakfast, and then I would be starving during the day. I would get home. I wasn't in any kind of extracurricular activity, so I would watch TV and binge on cookies because I was so hungry. I would eat the first thing that I got my hands on. Now, this was all my choice. There was definitely food in the house, and I was a teenager, so it's not like my mom packed my lunch or anything. So it was all my choice. But these habits would just continue, and I would just feel worse and worse, and I would try to wear hoodies to cover up my stomach because I did gain a bit of weight. And I just felt awful in my body, and that's the biggest thing that I actually started working out on accident, but that's the biggest positive benefit from working out for me was that my stomach started to feel better. That was the biggest thing that was making me just feel awful in my body. So that was my routine. Coming home, eating junk food, eating late at night. So then all the food that was in my body would just go to storage since my body wasn't using it to burn off any calories because I was sleeping. So I had really, really bad habits. So I tried out for the basketball team because my sister was on it, and all my classmates were in it. My best friend was in basketball. So I tried out. I did not last 3 days. Now, these girls, I went to a small private high school for a few years in high school, and everyone knew each other. All the girls were on the team, and they had been on the team for several years. So they were all pretty much in shape. I was the only one that wasn't. And so right away, as soon as basketball season started, the coach, who we all knew, we've known for several years, he just made them run like they were used to doing every season before that. And I had never run before. I was so out of breath. I couldn't keep up. I kind of wish maybe that I would have stuck with it, but I just couldn't do it. So I gave up after 3 days. However, I still wanted to learn to run because for some reason that must have stuck with me. So I tried to run on my own, and I still couldn't do it. Even in my own neighborhood, I could not run. I was so out of shape. So those attempted runs turned into walks. And what I found was so surprising. I would listen to music. I would go in the evening because that's when I had time, and that's when the sun happened to be setting behind the beautiful mountains in Colorado where I lived. And I would take music and just walk. And before I knew it, my stress levels were down. My weight started to change. I started to be able to think through things. And just listening, I had positive, upbeat music I was listening to. And it just completely changed my perspective of exercise. I no longer thought of it as, okay, I need to do this to lose weight. I started to crave my evening walks. I was like, when can I de-stress from the day? when is my evening walk going to get here? I was so addicted to those walks, and it changed my whole perspective. So that's what exercise should be for you. If that is not what exercise is, a time where it's me time, a time where you can de-stress, where you can clear out your mind, where you can just think of things over, where you can listen to music, where you can relax, as oxymoronic as that sounds. Exercise should turn into a time of relaxation for you. Or, to say that better, you should have some exercise regularly that de-stresses you. You can have other exercise where it's only to build muscle, or where you do want to go really fast or something. But you need a base exercise that you do regularly that de-stresses you, because it keeps your mind associating exercise with something positive and not like a chore, with something that you look forward to. It is so much easier to keep other kinds of exercises around when you have one that's like your go-to exercise, but one that calms you down. And I know that seems like an oxymoron, a calming exercise, because when you exercise, don't you get your heart rate up? Don't you sweat? Don't you huff and puff? No, you don't have to at all. That's not what exercise is. Now, that does happen eventually when your muscles and your organs and everything gets used to the amounts of, or the speed and the intensity. You have to build those muscles up first. And you can do activities like that, but exercise does not have to be huffing and puffing at all. I strongly recommend starting out with walking. Do something that relaxes you, swimming, maybe dancing, or something like that. Have an exercise that does not get you huffing and puffing, but does move the body. You need something that you associate with fun, with relaxing, because going on a walk is really relaxing. So you need that base level. My base level exercise is the one that I started with all those years ago, which is walking. I still go on walks. I go on a walk almost every day, and it relaxes me. So you need some kind of exercise that is solely for fun and relaxing and your you time, your me time. Now, you can have exercise that becomes more intense, of course. My walks actually did turn into jogging and running, but my muscles and my heart and my lungs had been built up, and my stamina and endurance, they had been built up to that point, and I mean, this was like several years after I had been walking every day, that it still felt relaxing for me because it wasn't huffing and puffing, because I was in really good shape. So I would jog and still listen to music, and it was still relaxing. So you can do something higher intensity and have it be relaxing if your muscles and everything is used to it. Now, with that said, you can have different kinds of exercises as well. You don't have to do the same thing over and over again. So I go on walks. That's my relaxing one. And the one that I revert back to if I just have a really busy schedule, or I'm too tired, or I don't feel super well or something like that, I'll still go on a walk. Like, I might not want to do weights or run or kickbox or something if I'm really busy or really stressed out or something. Now, that's a good thing to do if you're stressed out, because it will de-stress you. You're getting like your anger and the stuff out, right? But you can have separate exercise categories. So I go on a walk to think, sometimes to pray, to calm down, things like that. And then I have a separate exercise, which is lifting weights. And that's mainly for weight loss and building muscles and stuff. But you should first start out with, and usually it's going to be a cardio type thing, you should first start out with an exercise that is a bit more on the relaxing side. So I think I've beaten the horse with this. You don't have to huff and puff. You don't have to start out just running as fast as you can. One of my pastors at a church I went to, I saw him at the gym, and he was a bit overweight. He was out of shape, and his doctor had told him to get in shape. He had shared his story from the pulpit, and he was a funny guy, so he would, kind of make fun of himself sometimes. But anyways, I saw him at the gym, knowing that he was trying to lose weight and that he was first getting into it. And I was on the track, and he was on the track, and he was just kind of like running around full speed, And that's how a lot of people think they have to start. Start out walking. Start out at the slowest pace. Get used to that pace. Build a habit around that pace. And then build up your muscles and stuff. And then you can go at the faster, more intense pace. If you try to do the intense, fast pace first, you're going to burn out. Now, if you want to trade off, or if you want to do a few minutes of running fast just to get it out of your system because you feel like you have to or something, that's okay. But the majority of that calming exercise should be calm. And one last thing to close up this podcast. Most people who are fit and who work out every day, and the people who you see running on the sidewalk, the fit people, the people who've been doing it for years and who can stick with it and who have been thin because of it and all that stuff, if you observe them, you will see that most of the time their exercise for that day is not really intense. You'll see them running kind of slow, right? They're probably doing long distance, so they're getting a great workout, but they're not going really super fast. Have you ever seen someone just bolting down the sidewalk? Not usually. These people who are fit, and the people who are the ones that you see who are fit at the gym and stuff, they're doing things at a moderate level, sometimes very lightly. The reason why they're so fit is they just do it every day. So it's more about habit that's going to get you into shape than about speed or intensity. And you don't want to start off too strong first, and you don't want to do too strong most of the time. I mean, I definitely have sprint days and things like that, but most of the time I go on my walks, I might jog a little bit, I do my weights, and it's all very light and moderate. I just do it every day. So that's going to be probably the tricky part for you. I'm not going to say tricky, but the part to get used to is just getting the habit of doing it regularly. That's the part that most people have trouble with, or that they have to get used to, not the going at a slow pace. Going at a slow pace is easy, and it should be that way. Exercise should be easy. It should not be a chore. It should not be hard. You just have to get used to doing it regularly. So that's the opening. That's my opening podcast introduction. I hardly really talked about myself, but I guess it was a lesson on pace, because that's the first thing I want to tell people about weight loss, because I don't want them to burn out. The worst thing you can do is give up and burn out, because then you're never going to get results. So that's my first piece of advice for you, is to really watch that pace. Don't let other people pressure you, or your perception of what they're thinking, like if you're at the gym. Don't let that pressure you into going at a speed or an intensity that your muscles aren't used to yet. Don't care about what other people think. I guarantee you they are not judging you. Everyone started somewhere at some point, and I guarantee you they most likely think it's very cool that you were trying to change your health, or that you were there at the gym. It's kind of like a family. They're like, yeah, come join us. If you happen to go to the gym. I like to exercise outside, but sometimes, you might see people outside. Don't care what they think. Do you, and get in the habit of doing your thing every day, and you will see results eventually. You will see them. They will come. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Stay tuned. I do one podcast a week, or at least that's my goal. And have a great rest of your day. Try to get in a little bit of a calm, nice exercise thing today. Even if it's just 10 minutes, try to squeeze in, but make sure that it's nice and calm and something you can do at a slow pace. All right, to your health.